everything is going well and you're ready for your meeting. So I thought the plan would be one, we will quickly exchange the ideas that you have so far, and then together take a quick look and see if you have sort of a system in place for the steps that you need to take to have the final presentation on the last day of the conference. Technically, we will not have to write the reports this time, and I'll give you a quick background. So in the past, students would have been required to write a report and submit basically a paper. But one time in 2016, I believe, we had a symposium on a cruise ship. And because we were on a cruise ship, it was impossible to find printers to print those reports. And at that time, we thought, well, maybe this time we will not ask for the reports, but instead we will ask for presentations. And it worked very well. So first of all, it reduced, kind of removed all the hassle of having to go find printers and print those reports. So for students, it was much easier. Second, the students would give presentations, which is an interesting experience and a good skill. So that's something that they learn in the process, something new, being in front of the judges, in front of a large audience, doing the presentation. And third, for the judges, it was also much better because, if you are a company and you have, 10, 20 teams working on your challenge, and then you get 10, 20 papers, so that's like, a lot of paper, and you have to read it all in half a day and evaluate it. It's very inconvenient, takes a lot of time, so nobody liked that. So now we will not ask you to write a paper per se, but it's still, so you will only do a presentation. But it still may be a good idea to have some sort of a shared document, either in sort of Word, like text editing document, or maybe slides document. Again, it can be PowerPoint in a Dropbox, or maybe, I think they call it slides in Google Docs, where you have a document where you put all those ideas from the beginning. So this way, there will be some sort of a central place where you can record the thoughts, the ideas that you've been discussing, and sort of start designing your presentation in one-page handout. Again, you don't have to have much there now. Most of the work will be happening as you will be in Calgary, but still it may be a good idea to design a document like this. And so I'm not sure if you have one or not, so we'll discuss that. And then obviously once you will be in Calgary, again, you can either keep adding in that shared document, which may be probably a preferred way to go forward, or alternatively, you can then use somebody's laptop, like a physical computer, and just every time you meet, you pull out that computer and together make changes in that one document on the hard drive. Although again, in my opinion and experience, it probably will be more efficient if you had some sort of a shared document so that, multiple people can work on it at the same time. Because again, you will have little time and there are 7 of you on the team. And so it would be very hard to all of you stand around one computer and do it, on a physical copy. So now tell me, then maybe you have all of that. So where are you standing at this time? So what do you have? Have you exchanged some ideas? Do you have a shared document? So how much progress have you made so far?
Yeah, so we have a shared document on Google Docs where we have, so we have started writing the scripts.
And so this document in Google Docs, is this a kind of Microsoft Word type document or PowerPoint type document?
It's a document, so a Word document.
Text.
Yeah.
We're using Google Drive, Google Docs.
Okay. Yeah, so Docs is a good way to go initially because obviously it's more suitable for typing a lot of text. But then again, at some point you will probably have to create a copy in slides or whatever they call it in Google Docs, kind of PowerPoint type of deal. Because when the time will come to present, you will be using slides, right? So you will not use a document, like a Word document, you will use slides. And so as a result, you will still have to work with the slides file, but we can do that later, no problem. Yeah. Okay, and is it something that you can share and show me?
Yeah.
So do you have much text in it already?
Yeah, it's like, kind of. It's about
by the way, again, at this time, you don't have to have much there. In fact, I guarantee you that out of 32 teams, like maybe 3 have something on paper already. Maybe another 3 have like very little, and the rest probably don't even have a shared document yet. So it's normal. So you seem to be way ahead of the pack. So that's good. So is it something that you can share? So just curious how much you have there.
Yeah, so how should we do?
So there is a button at the bottom of your screen that says share, and then if you have it open on your screen, it will show me your screen, and then this way we can see what you have there.
Okay.
Or alternatively, if you want, you can send me the link and I can open it on my screen and share. Yeah, so that's
okay, so yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, you have quite a lot of information there, yeah.
Yeah,
This is very good. So that's a great start. So you guys are way ahead of the game. The only problem, obviously, is that you have this document now written more like a report, and then in the end, you will have to do it more like slides. And so it's always easier to condense things down. So when you have a lot of stuff, just select the most interesting stuff. But again, just keep in mind that at some point you'll have to do that as well. Okay, well, do you want to then maybe let's take a quick look at your ideas. Again, without the document, if you want, you can stop sharing. And if, just in your own words, if you would like to share some of the ideas that you have.
Yeah, okay. So on the point 1 for the new source of revenue, we have, we're thinking of having more services on the car parking. So like electricity chargers, online booking, car washes, maybe a garage. So like getting more people to use the car parking. Because they say on the webinar that only 1/3 of the parking was used. So so if the whole parking is used, they're going to get twice as much.
Yeah, actually, that's a very interesting idea. So in terms of electric chargers, again, as I said, I was just in Sweden just literally last week, and Sweden, Denmark, Norway, you have a lot of electric cars there. So when you go to Canada, not many yet. And so I'm not sure why. I mean, it's also a cold climate, just like Sweden, so technically it shouldn't be a problem, but somehow it's still very much gasoline. But you're very right, soon enough, hopefully there will be more. And as people leave the cars overnight, they probably, or maybe even for several days, they probably will want to charge them. Likewise, car washes, that's a very good idea. So in Calgary, you have to wash cars like literally every few days, because the climate is such that you always have that kind of snowy, slushy things. And so like here in North Carolina, I don't wash my car more than twice a year, and probably not even that. So, the rain just washes it and that's enough. But in Calgary, you always have that kind of snowy stuff on the ground, and it makes your car dirty. And I think many people would be happy while they're waiting or when they're entering or exiting to go through the car wash. So that's an interesting idea. Can you explain more about that online booking? So what's that?
Yeah, so we're thinking of like designing an app that the airport can have, and on that app or on the website, it can be online booking, so they can book the parking spot in advance. This
one again, so this one may be trickier. Again, Canada has a lot of space, as you understand. And I don't think it's ever an issue that you need to find a spot or even book in advance. I mean, it's a very simple system at this time. So there is always space, like literally always space. And I think the way it works is you just enter and you just press a button, get a ticket. And then as you're exiting, you put the ticket in the machine, it automatically reads how long the car was there. You just put the credit card in and pay. So it's a very, very simple system at this time. So the electronic booking, I'm just not sure there is any advantage. Like if it was a busy airport where you never can find the spot, or you never know if there will be enough room for parking, maybe. But here, I don't think there is much need. I mean, as I said, it takes seconds as it is. So this one potentially will not, be necessary. But then again, don't hold me up to this. So maybe things have changed. We will be visiting the airport obviously next week, and so we will see for ourselves, see what the system they have is like now, and maybe it is more complicated. Maybe an app would be necessary at this time. So we'll see that at some point. Any other ideas?
A garage.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So perhaps, because usually when people are working, when they're like in Canada, they don't have time to leave their car. So perhaps when they're going on holidays, they can just leave their car in the airport car park and then get something fixed.
Oh,
because they're not using their time. Because, like, you know, when you're working, you don't have time to leave your car.
Idea.
But then when you're going on holidays, you're not using the car, so you might as well just
That's a very, very interesting idea. I always like when stores have repair shops in them. Like, for example, here in the United States, we have this network of stores called Costco. It's likewise, by the way, Sam's Club of Walmart. Again, you may have heard about Walmart. I'm not sure if you've heard about Costco. And so, yes, you can go shopping, and while you're shopping, they can like change your tires or change your oil, like simple things, but it's very convenient because you don't have to go to the repair shop separately and sit and wait. So here you kind of get it fixed while you do something else. But for something bigger that may take a few days, you're absolutely right. So it would be a very convenient place, to do it. So that's a very interesting idea. So this way, I drop off my car for a couple of days, come, it's all fixed, and I don't have to be without a car for a few days. That's a very interesting idea. Yeah, I've never heard that one. Like all the previous ones sort of kind of make sense, but this one is a very, very unique. Guarded, don't let the other team steal it, because I think, that's an interesting idea. So anything else? I think, Maxim, you had an interesting idea about the customers there. So the other day you shared with me.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yep.
So I saw something about it. Basically, when someone is arriving to the airport to depart, or when they're coming back to where they were going, they can have the person's family be able to wait inside the airport past the security. That way, it would allow more people to be in the airport at the same time. And if there's more people, that's just like more potential customers that could spend the money on other stuff like the restaurants inside the airport.
So what you're saying is that in a normal airport, if I bring you to the airport, like your parent or your friend or your relative, I'm not allowed to enter the airport, the waiting zone with you, right? So you get your tickets and only you go inside, and then I just leave. Likewise, if you're flying back home, if I'm picking you up as a relative friend, I cannot get to the gate and wait for you there. I can only wait essentially outside, and only for a few, normally like for an hour, no more. Like there is no point in coming earlier. And even if the plane is late, I still kind of stay and wait outside. And then when you arrive, you kind of exit the airport, and then we meet and go to the parking. And so what you're saying is that the airport can allow relatives and friends to go through the security check, even if they don't have the tickets, and spend time in the airport, right? So this way, if I'm dropping you off, we can come together a few hours in advance, as people usually do, and stay together up until you actually board the plane. So I wouldn't get on the plane, but I would be with you in the wait area. Likewise, if I'm picking you up, I can come a little earlier. We can spend some time together in the airport, maybe have lunch, and then go home. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, yeah.
And so what's the advantage of that approach?
It allows at one time, with not too much change to the actual, I guess, airport, more people to be inside the airport, which is just more people that will spend money and increase the profits towards the airport.
That's an interesting idea. So yeah, you're right, because most of the time people, get friends or relatives who drop them off and pick them up. And let's say not everybody will need it. Some will just take a cab. But let's say 30% of the people come with a relative or relatives. So automatically that means that there are like 30-40% more people who are inside the airport who might want to get a cup of coffee or a donut or whatever else. And so from this perspective, without changing anything, all of a sudden you sell like 30-40% more products and make more money just because you have more people inside, right? Any disadvantages of this approach?
I'm not sure actually. There could be.
Security.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it may require a little bit more hassle for the security, so maybe slower moving lines. But then again, we'll have to see what it is like in Calgary. When I lived there, I remember it was never too busy. So you always could go through security in a few minutes. And so I suppose that shouldn't be a problem in terms of slowing down the passenger flow. So they may need maybe a little bit more people to handle the security so that it doesn't slow it down. But I suppose, a few extra employees here and there probably will be easily offset with the increased sales, by 20, 30, 40%. Another thing, I'm not sure if many people will like extra crowds in the airport, but then again, you know, if it leads to more sales, I suppose it may be well worth it. So that's an interesting idea. So the extra people allow, yeah. Next, and what you might want to do is find that article that you read and then see maybe they have more details on how this works, because if I remember correctly, you said that some airports are already doing that, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they do, but I think they were working on implementing it.
Yeah. So you might want to then cite examples, you know, find which airports either are doing it already or maybe thinking about doing it and just give them as an example, because this is a very radical idea and it may be a great idea, but then again, people may like, what do you mean, you know, allow everybody in the airport? So you might want to give them, you know, some examples to make your idea more credible and more acceptable. So,
okay.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other ideas you have for increasing revenue?
Not really. That's all I have so far.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, always the challenge is like in the airport, when I travel, you know, sometimes you're stuck there for a few hours. And so always wanted to, like, for example, why there is no gym in the airport. I would be happy to pay like $10 and just do a little exercise and take shower maybe, or whatever the price would be. I'm stuck anyway, so why just sit? And I was sitting in the airplane. Now I'm waiting, and then I will be sitting again. So it would be nice to be able to maybe get on the treadmill or maybe, you know, do some exercise. And I've never seen airports offer, you know, exercise rooms. Likewise, if it's a long flight, sometimes it would be a good idea, you know, just to take shower. Again, I would be happy to pay $10, $20, $30 for it. But at the same time, it's just not available. And again, sometimes you're traveling for days and not sure why airports don't offer that service. Also, like to get a quick sleep, you know, like going to the hotel, it's expensive, it's far away, I may not have that much time, but it would be nice to be able to stretch and sleep for a while. And so I've seen, like in Asia, for example, they have those like almost like tube, you know, like a thing that you get in, close your door. It's very small. It's like almost like, I don't know, like a big barrel. But, you know, you can stretch out. You don't have to worry about your luggage being stolen or, you know, misplaced while you're sleeping. So you can, you kind of have some space to yourself where you can sleep for a couple of hours. And again, I'm not sure why most airports don't have anything like this. Sometimes, again, when you're traveling for days, it may be a good idea just, you know, to try to sleep, because on the airplane, when you're sitting, it's not very convenient to sleep. So I'm not sure why they don't offer that. Also, little things like, for example, getting a haircut. You know, we never have the time to get a haircut. So in the airport, you have the time. So why not go like get a haircut, or maybe, I don't know, some more complicated cosmetic procedures, you know, so I'm not sure why those services are not really offered at the airports. So, or at least not in Calgary to my knowledge. So again, $10 here, $10 there, but before you know it, you know, instead of just buying a cup of coffee for $5, I spend another 10 on exercise, another 10 on haircut. And so I kind of quintupled my revenue. So, I mean, my spending. So, yeah. Any other ideas? Well, you have a great start, so you definitely have something to work with, and some of these ideas are very novel. So I'm sure many people will think about little services like, you know, haircuts and massages, but that one with the car repair and then letting more people in the airport. So those are very, very interesting. So I think they will have a huge impact. So that's very interesting. Now
we have a bit more ideas for point 2 and 3.
Go ahead, Katrina.
So for point 2, to increase customer satisfaction, we were thinking about like an entertainment deck. So we were thinking about like comfortable couches, charging ports everywhere, and like really good internet. But we were thinking about maybe doing it on the roof, so you're like saving space.
Well, that's a good idea. Again, remember though, we are talking about Canada, that is relatively cold for half a year. So if it's open on the roof, you know, I mean, do you mean like in the open or on the roof?
Oh no, with like glass windows or plastic windows.
That's a very good idea. Yeah, that's a very good idea. And again, we might want to take a look at the airport when we're there. Maybe they already have enough space. So again, I don't remember, you know, how much open space they have for something like this, but they may not even have to go on the roof. Although on the roof, it would be really cool. So it would be really interesting.
And we were also thinking about placing like office desks. So because usually people maybe people want to work, but in like cafes and restaurants, it's usually like really busy. There's families running around, children running around everywhere. So then perhaps like a quiet place to work.
That's a very good idea. Actually, I personally would love to use that because, when waiting in the airports, I always try to get some work done. And most of the time you just sit somewhere on a bench with, 1,000 people around you, everybody's talking, and you put your laptop on your knees, which is not, on your lap, which is not always convenient, and you have no place to put your mouse because I don't like the touch that very much. And and if you want to have like maybe, so that's a very interesting idea. If they have like more like office cubicles type of setup, again, I would gladly pay $5-10 an hour to have more proper, working space available. That's a very good idea. Not to mention that it also sends the image that our airport is kind of businessman friendly, right? So I guess that's a very interesting idea. Yeah. Anything else? You seem to have a lot of ideas. Yeah, go ahead.
For the entertainment deck, we didn't really know if we should go more with like perhaps having like PlayStation. So we were thinking about something like that, or perhaps one of our initial ideas where perhaps you can have like a few like shelves with old books, and then people can come and read there. And then let's say they like the book. If they like the book, they can buy it, but like for a cheaper price because it's going to be secondhand. And then also when you come in, you can perhaps put in your old book, and then they're going to get new books, but at the same time earn revenue from selling their old books.
That's a very good idea, yeah. So, I think the way people do it, or airports do it with books now, they always have bookstores. I don't know if Calgary has it, but I know pretty much all airports would have some sort of a bookstore where you can buy a book for your flight. And then obviously these days, often people would have electronic readers, so they can just download it directly from Amazon and stuff. But nothing replaces one, like a physical book that you can, hold in your hands, especially if it's an older book, there's like special kind of charm to it. So, but then also just simply for satisfaction, nothing, it wouldn't cost them much to have a shelf with older books. And as you said, they can buy them. People probably would gladly donate the books. And so where you don't have to pay $10, $20, $30 for the books. So I guess people, not sure if it will lead to much more money for the airport, but definitely to higher satisfaction of customers. And if they're sitting and reading the book there, they might as well buy a cup of coffee, which otherwise they may have not bought. So that's a very interesting idea. Very interesting idea. Yeah. You had more ideas? Katrina is on fire, so she has so many different ideas. What else? That's it?
And then for point 3, we were also talking about to encourage more like airlines. We were thinking about making the airport more like environmental safe.
Oh, that's you're getting into, yeah. They have this expression, doing well by doing good. So if you can think of ways to make the airport more environmentally safe, so doing good, while also not sacrificing your economic revenue or economic standing. So that would be a really interesting idea. So how would you do that? So when you say environmentally safe, do you have any specific ideas?
We were thinking about placing solar panels for electricity, and then we had other ideas.
Yes, solar would be tricky because, again, we are talking about Canada, where half of the year in Calgary, it's not really too dark, but it's not very sunny. And then on top of that, it snows a lot. Not a lot, because Calgary is a dry city, but still there will be a substantial part of the year when the solar panels will be covered with snow. So I'm not sure how, but then again, in the summer, you have a lot of, daylight. So I guess the solar panels can be used for like, I don't know, 16 hours a day, maybe even more. So it may be an interesting idea. But one thing they also have in Calgary, they have winds. It's almost always windy. And so in addition to solar, the wind turbines actually maybe, in fact, they have a lot of wind turbines outside the city. So I'm not sure if it's a good idea to put big wind turbines in the airport, but they do have wind, so maybe, you know, something to consider. But yeah, a solar, it will be very convenient half of the year, but then probably not very efficient in winter. So, but yeah, that's an interesting idea for sure. Yeah, I wonder if they have that. So again, when we visit them next week, so I will not be surprised if they already have some solar powered, you know, in the airport, but we'll have to see. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, they were thinking of like a price system. So airplanes that are like more eco-friendly or that doesn't have like as much noise, they will get lower starting fees. And the ones that are not like eco-friendly, they will get higher.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. One idea also, I mean, one thing that I like about this idea also is that, I mean, there is much value in just simply giving a lot of little ideas, but there will be many teams that will be saying, oh, you should start selling a new product, or you should add this or add that. But you said something about membership and points. And so that's a whole new direction. And so if you can think about something like that, where you not just add another product or service, but you change the whole structure of how those products and services are paid for. So that may be something very interesting. And again, I'm not sure if that's what you meant in this particular case, but since you mentioned something like, you know, so maybe you can think about some sort of membership or subscription or club or points or like repeat customer, something coupons, some sort of, you know, like membership deal that may give the airport, you know, a more steady stream of revenue, while the customers may have an incentive to go through Calgary and not some other airport, because, you know, if I'm already a member there and I get some perks, I might as well fly through that airport and not through some other airport. So again, it would be more complicated to devise that system. But if you can think of something that completely changes, not just adds, as I said, you know, like a new service or a new product, but completely changes how people pay for it, it may be a very interesting proposition. Like when you look at, for example, the books. So, you know, you mentioned books as one of the products. I used to buy, I don't know, maybe a couple books a year. So maybe one or two here, one or two there. But then Amazon rolled out this audiobook service called Audible, which you probably have in your countries as well. And so it's a subscription-based product. So I pay some fee per month. And so for that, I get a couple of books for free. And then if I buy, because I have a subscription, I also get some, you know, a smaller discount. And because of that subscription, all of a sudden I'm buying books every month because I have a subscription and because I sort of get them with my subscription. And if before I would buy 2-3 books a year and spend $20, $30, $40, now I spend literally over $1,000 on books every year because I'm in subscription. And so membership. And so I get the books much cheaper per unit than if I just bought one somewhere randomly. But at the same time, I end up buying so many more of them that, as I said, for the last several years, I've been spending, you know, tens of times more than I was spending before I became a member. Again, so I'm not sure if it's easy to come up with some model that would do it, but if you can think about some sort of a subscription membership points, I don't know, club, that actually may be quite a nice revolutionary idea. Likewise, just to give you more examples, you probably all know what Netflix is, right? The video streaming service. Again, before Netflix, people would, you know, sometimes buy a DVD or a video cassette earlier, but, you know, not often. Or they would go to a rental place and, you know, you rent a video cassette or DVD and you pay for it on the spot. And it was expensive. Like in Canada, in the United States, Blockbuster, it was like $5 a day or something like that. And so, you know, I would rent videos maybe a few times a year, but, you know, it was kind of expensive and inconvenient. And then Netflix comes along and they have a membership service. So they make the price per unit very low, but at the same time, you have a membership and you can buy a lot of those. And much of that comes for free with your membership. In fact, with Netflix, you pay the membership fee and then you can watch all you can. And all of a sudden now I end up paying $15 for Netflix every month. And so I spend like $150, $180 every year, no matter what. And so I never paid that much in a year before, and now I pay more. And so even though it's cheaper per unit, but they get much more money out of my pocket because it's a membership fee. So there are many other services like that. So so I'm not sure if we can come up with something like this for the airport, but that would be a really interesting model if you could think about something where it's not, you know, I buy a product and pay for it, but I pay, you know, like some other model where I become a member, or, you know, I collect some points, or I have some subscription. So which attracts me to this particular airport. I get services cheaper, but over time I spend much more money. So I don't know, Annie, is that what you meant, or did I think about more and
yeah, kind of. Yeah, but our idea was more like getting more like eco-friendly airplanes to the airport. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, as I said, you know, this would be a little bit more difficult to pull off, but definitely keep thinking in that direction. Eco-friendly, that's a big topic. Canadians, by the way, are, you know, it's a national religion there to, you know, to protect the environment. So they're very, very concerned about it. I remember when I lived on campus, you know, in Calgary, we had like a little park. We had a few trees on campus, like in one area. And then in 2007 or 6, they decided to cut down those trees and build another building on campus there. And the students were so concerned that several of them chained themselves to the tree and were like, basically, you know, if you want to cut those trees, you have to literally, you know, cut my hands first. And so they're very, very concerned about that. So even if it's not making much money for the airport, if they can, you know, protect the environment, be more environmentally friendly, I think they will go for it. So you definitely should try to exploit that, you know, topic. And it's good for the environment. So we definitely want to help in that direction, in that area anyway. So yeah, very interesting. Okay, well, I was worried that you haven't had much, but from what I see, you actually have a lot of work done. In fact, much more than what I expected, and definitely much more than some of the other teams I talked to. So you're doing extremely well. And I guess as the plan then, next steps, so we have what, less than a week before we go to Calgary, right? So when are you flying in? What day?
Tomorrow.
Oh, you're flying tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, so you will do some sightseeing beforehand, or?
Yeah.
So you're going directly to Calgary, or where are you flying first?
No, I'm flying to Calgary.
And then you go like national park or something?
Yeah.
You will be very well prepared. Also good for you because the time zone differences for you, so I guess it will give you a little time to adjust. So yeah, very nice, very nice. I actually envy you because I'm not flying in until the 13th. So how about you, Peter, Katrina, Maxim? Well, I know that Maxim is flying on the 13th. How about you guys?
I'm flying on the 13th as well.
Okay.
I'm flying on the 14th.
Yeah, okay. So you're closer to the actual event. So until then, I don't think there is really a need to do much. But, you know, keep thinking about these ideas and keep thinking and just add them to that Google Docs file if you have any other ideas. I still don't know if it would be better to have one big idea in your presentation or have a lot of small ideas. And it seems like you already have a lot of smaller ideas. So I suppose that's the model you'll have to stick with unless you will find a way to package them sort of under one big umbrella in some way. So, but yeah, I guess just keep thinking about what else you can put on that presentation and, you know, in that presentation. And then once we're there, on the first day, we will visit the airport and you will have an opportunity to both, you know, see for yourself how it's organized and kind of assess on the spot if your ideas would be applicable there. So who knows, maybe they already have, I don't know, an app for parking. Or maybe they already have an area where you can borrow a used book and read it while you're waiting. Or maybe they already allow relatives and friends into the airport so that they have more customers and, you know, get more, you know, products sold. So I don't know. So we'll be able to assess that. And then you will have 2-3 days before the actual presentation. And I think that's when you will start working on your slides. And that's when you will be working on your one-page handout. So you'll have some time to polish it and, you know, decide which ideas you keep. Maybe you'll have some more ideas once you visit the airport. And then the only thing that I would recommend that you try to have something more or less ready, like at least a couple of days in advance, so that you can do a few rehearsals. So we will have the ambassadors and we will have 2 coaches and they will be available for you to watch your presentation and provide feedback. From my experience, almost no team does a rehearsal. which is very, foolish on their end, because yes, I know they're not ready, and I know that they're afraid, that it will not look good. But who cares? The coaches, the ambassadors are there to help you. They're not there to judge. So it's much better to be embarrassed and, to see your mistakes in a rehearsal and then improve and do a good presentation, than not to show to anyone what you have, and then during the presentation realize that maybe some ideas are not polished enough, or maybe you're not able to stay within the time limit. So definitely it would be a very good idea to do at least a couple of rehearsals, get feedback, use that feedback, so that when the time comes to do the actual presentation, you're already much more prepared. So, but we'll work on that on the spot. So, but yeah, other than that, I guess you're in a very, very good shape. I was worried, but you seem to be way ahead of the game. All right, any other comments, suggestions, questions? Yeah, so I think, yeah, you're doing extremely well. So we'll see what the other teams have, but yeah, I feel much better now. You're the youngest team, and so I was like, are they ready? Will they be able to do something? But no, you seem to be very, very prepared. Other team members that you haven't heard from, because you technically have 8 team members, but then one probably will not be coming. And then I know Maxim has not been very active, but he was in this super busy 3D printing camp, finally done with it, and so he will be available much more now. And any other team members that are not participating very actively?
Yeah, we have one from Norway.
So
yeah.
She just didn't talk to you at all, or checks?
Oh, no, she talks with us, but she doesn't work on the challenge.
Yeah. Well, again, maybe she has some sort of summer camp or something, because I know, again, with Maxim on his behalf, so he had from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day, or 5 p.m. with homework. Yeah, so I can imagine that, it was hard to keep multiple things but you're done with the camp, Maxim, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're taking a course this summer, but other than that, you're more or less, hopefully he'll be more available. Okay, so then there are 5 of you, and then there is one more that is active and one more that is not active, right?
2 more that are active.
2 more that are active. Okay, even better, even better. All right, well, so great job then, guys. So then I can't wait to see you all later this week. So I guess we'll meet up on Saturday or Sunday for some of you. And you have my contacts in case you need some help, right? So let me put here in the comments, my cell phone number, mobile as you call them in Europe. In case something goes wrong, so if you need help picking up you at the airport or something, Annie, I will not be able to help you because you're coming there first, but the other ones, it seems like we will be coming at around the same time, or I'll come earlier. So if you need to call me, let me know. Or you can call me on Skype just to be sure also. I think Skype should be always online. So yeah, and can't wait to meet you in person. And yeah, let's see if you're gonna win the competition. In the past, we had a separate category for the kids just because they were much weaker than the students. And so everybody was like, all right, so let's keep them separate. But this time the kids are a little older. So last year we had kids that were 12, 13. So now you're more 15, 16. So you're not much younger than the students. And second, now that I see your list of ideas, I think we will have a very fair chance of winning the competition without any special, treatment for you, as kids. Yeah, I think we will have a good chance. So let's see how things go. But, yeah. All right, well, then see you in a few days. So safe travel, and see you in a few days.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.